And the Olympics, U.S. Olympics has really no Hall of Fame. They have this tiny little rotunda in pathetic Colorado Springs as their Hall of Fame, and so that was going to be part of the undertaking. So, and what I was pitching, and so then I quickly escalated into not just having the Hall of Fame there, but which they liked the idea of, and then having the induction ceremonies for the Hall of Fame here in Chicago for the next 3 years, which is like, okay, well, that's good. So they immediately moved into, well, you should move your headquarters here. Because you're here once a month anyway, all your big marketers are here. You've got access to the whole country and the world from here in a way that you can't get to Colorado Springs from here. So, and the other thing I sold them was, and besides, Mayor Daley says the Olympics is a sucker's bet. And so we'll never be competing for them, therefore we'll always be a neutral city. So then, so I can read the paper like everybody else, and it's like, so I called them up and just confessed, well, I'm not as well connected as, I should be. But then when they had their first meeting of the potential bid cities, I went with Monique Bond, who had been the police PR person, and she had worked for the Atlanta mayor when they had theirs. And so the two of us went to Colorado Springs for that first sort of meeting.
So this was what year?
This was, geez, 3 years ago, whatever it is, 3.5 years ago.
2005.
Yeah, anyway.
Something.
Yeah. And so then, so they laid out what the mandatories were for this bid cycle for 2016. And one of the things was that you had to have a community partners organization, which is a new entity, that had to be separate from the bid process, and had to be done by a 501c3 to involve, sport and get into the community. So because the mayor's office couldn't get their act together, we ended up holding it, and it always drove Daley insane. He hated it. And we always kept trying to explain to him, why we were doing it. And yes, this is not our business. So we organized the park district and the schools and different things like that. And then, and then finally, he just blew his top. And I've been trying to give it to Pat Ryan for a while. So finally I said, fine, here it is. But I told his chief of staff, Lori Healy, who's now the president in 2016, said, yeah, he's screaming and yelling, but if we hadn't done this, you wouldn't have been able to have a bid, because you guys couldn't get your act together. So tell him sometime. So anyway, there's no telling him anyway. So then we got rid of that, and in the interim, we had Middle Steel, brought Middle Steel here at North American headquarters. And during the course of that, following up on that first meeting, I was at a press conference at City Hall, and they asked me about the Olympics. And they said, what's the deal? And are we missing anything? I said, hey, you're missing a stadium. That's the big issue for them. So then Jackie Hurd, Mayor's press secretary, blew her top, and she wanted me to go down to the press room to tell them that, to confess my sins. So I did, and her view was that meant that we didn't want the Olympics, and it's like, okay. So I went and told the press room at the second floor, Jackie thinks by saying that means we don't want to have the Olympics, and they looked at me like, what are you, nuts? I said, well, okay, and that was sort of my last formal involvement with the Olympics. It's very much a one strike and you're out kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I think we're at the end of the second hour. Thank you.
Thank you. It was really fun. I mean, it's like, thanks for your interest. I really appreciate it. And it means a lot to me. I was always raised with a special affection for the Chicago Historical Society, now History Museum, and Archie Motley, curator, whom I never met, but whose name was always in front of me. And this institution means a lot to me and my family, and I couldn't tell you how flattered I am to be part of its record.
Thank you very much.